Hi. I want to do a short ritual for you and for me and for all of us to connect with this energy that we're in right now. The veils are thin. I'm sure you've heard this multiple times. And this is a day, an evening, weekend in many cultures and traditions where we honor our roots and where we come from. We get to celebrate life and death and these connections. A lot of my favorite people are not here. A lot of my favorite people have died. And so I love there being a place for us to really have like levity and nourishment and like time together and to really acknowledge the cycles of life and the experience of really, really loving someone or something that has moved into another form. But the other thing I'm also thinking a lot about is that we are in this shadow work season. We're in the age of Aquarius, and what it looks like to really honor and give reverence to our roots and where we come from at a moment in time where we're dismantling a lot of the history and a lot of how things have been done. And a lot of us are, hi Tim, a lot of us are reconciling with like painful patterns that were passed down, sometimes even passed down by people we love. So like I wanted to do a ritual that really connects with all of that, that connects with giving reverence and giving honor to where we're from, because it is really healing and grounding and important to know where we come from, to receive the gifts that we've been given and actually work with them, to feel pride in our roots and in how we are here in this lifetime. And also it's really important to like understand what we're here to do and be connected to the mission and be understanding of like what we're here to transform and reconcile, because we're living in the timeline with the sight and the capacity to change things that have needed to change. Oftentimes when I'm working with people, like that's what comes through is like, oh, this is the lifetime where you can alchemize this, you can innovate this, you can shift it and receive the gift. That's the work of being a soul innovator. And I'm also thinking a lot also of just like other lineages that we come from. A big one for me is like the lineage of being a healer and a practitioner and of devoting my adult life to like that world and that work and this industry. And like, man, it is a big shadow work time for the world of the healing arts, the world of the spiritual arts and teachers and communities. I don't know that there's any sort of group, anything that has ever been scaled in a big way, in a powerful way, in a way where money is involved, where there isn't shadow. But it's especially painful when it is in these spaces that are meant to heal. And it's especially painful when people have come from having their heart broken in other spaces of life and come to these spaces that are supposed to be supportive and healing and nurturing, and like they end up being places that create trauma. So I've been thinking about that a lot too, like still having gratitude for the lineages in which we come from, still having gratitude for the lineages that have chosen us, like our purpose, our mission, our path, lineages, and like still seeing, like being able to hold all of it, being able to really hold the gratitude and hold what is ours to receive from these lines, and also be able to like look at the other pieces and alchemize them. Because I've noticed in my practice lately, like a lot of people who are not recognizing the belonging that's here for them, not letting themselves like go to the next level in their work or their life in any way that's like really important to them. And when we look at it, it's like, well, they don't want to identify with wealthy based on what it looked like in their family, right? Like they don't want to live the version that caused pain and trauma and sadness and wreckage in their family. So sometimes it can be hard to receive what is ours to have if like we are identifying with the wound version of that rather than like the real current of energy. And I think about that also with with the healing lineage, because, you know, one of the big ones, and I've been digesting this and talking a lot about this with people in my life. Like, there's a documentary that just came out called Breath of Fire on HBO, and it's about a teacher and a yoga school that I was like really loved and had a really beautiful time with during my time living in California, and just the caliber of the community of women that all participated and trained together, the experience of the Kundalini practice itself, like, was really healing and beautiful. And I think of that time so fondly. And I also saw the shadow aspects of what was going on there, especially towards the end. And there's also a whole thread of like exploitation and greed and like hurt, disguised as esoteric teachings or the privilege of being close to certain people, or close to the teachings, that like has to be shown. The story has to be told. There has to be accountability for that. And so like the thing I look at there is like we need the deep work. We need the transformative healing work and the spiritual practice. And yet any practice that asks us to disconnect from ourselves and from our own discernment and our own well-being is like not the way. And so it's an important time to look at those sort of lineages too. And it's like how to keep the gratitude, how to keep the wisdom and the gifts that we're given that need to keep moving through the world at this time, while not being dismissive or denying the pain that was caused, and not being dismissive and denying like the need for this work when it is in its form of integrity. So yeah, that's the things that are kind of like stewing around here that I've been thinking about a lot. You know, when my dad was gonna pass, I felt this real 20 years ago, which was like really the initiation into being a practitioner and doing this work. I felt like real urgency that I needed to get this tattoo, which is it's the Sanskrit word ahimsa, which is like the guiding principle of non-harm, like non-harm in your actions, your thoughts, your words, your deed, non-harm to others, to yourself, to the world. And I've always thought about that, about how like as I was being initiated into being a practitioner, into like that life, like suddenly I really felt this connection to this word and like this commitment almost that I wanted to understand, and for like my lineage that I was coming from to understand, that I was committing to that in my family. And then like over the years, just realizing like I don't know that we live in a time where non-harm is possible, where it's possible to be dismantling, to be learning, to be experiencing, and for there to never be harm. But it's certainly a guiding principle. Like what are the choices we make when that is the principle, when like the principle is as little harm as possible. Doesn't mean there's no pain, but harm, looking at the harm. And then realizing so many of the places I've invested energy and time and attention into have been harmful, have created harm. I'm in my reconciliation process with that. You know, I have been for some years, really, especially since my brother passed, of really looking at what does that look like to still receive, have the gratitude, be here on the mission, and not dismiss and deny and disconnect. And so I just wanted to offer a ritual here where we can come together and drop into the energy and really plug into the actual frequency of the lineage of our family, that the true purpose, the highest possible outcome, story, love of our lineages, of family, of other lineages we know we are part of in our mission and purpose. And unplug from the wound and the distorted version and really connect. to the highest possible light. And so just taking a few breaths here, breathing in some space and some possibility. Exhaling out. We're just calling in all the guides, guardians, teachers, ancestors. And if your eyes are closed here, just allowing yourself to connect with the first ancestor you see. Someone beloved to you, someone who loved you. And just letting yourself feel them reflecting to you something they love about you. Something beautiful you've brought into the family story. First sense is the best sense, and just breathe that in. Exhaling out, letting that come into a part of the body that needs to receive that. And now letting yourself see something you love about this ancestor, this relative, something you love about being part of this family line, letting that naturally come up for you, and then sending your gratitude and your message to them. And just let yourself have that exchange of love and gratitude between you and your relative, beginning to feel that expand out to the most loving, heart-connected aspects of all relatives, connecting to the most loving, heart-centered aspects of all relatives, letting the energy of that be like a field that you just breathe in. Feeling how much love actually does run through your family line. And just let yourself receive it. Be nurtured by it. Now beginning to feel the connection to the purpose, this ancestry, this heritage, this family line, the deepest and highest spiritual purpose of these people, lifetime after lifetime, personality after personality, family member after family member, the love and the resilience that spans generations to have finally culminated in you and in this moment. Really feeling yourself connect to that light. Let it be like a beam of light that you're seeing, like light blue light. Hey, V. And so as you breathe in here, if you're just joining, we're connecting to the highest possible reason for being, for our family line, our ancestry, our heritage, where we come from. Letting that light come in to the field. And just feeling it gently come in to the crown, to the third eye, down through the face. Letting yourself, just a little while ago, letting yourself really receive and maybe reconnect. Maybe you've received this before, the highest purpose, the greatest possible reason and outcome for why this network of souls that is your family came to be. And just breathe and receive that for several breaths. Knowing that on many levels here, you're opening and remembering why you chose, why you're here. And as you relax into this space, I'm just going to share the like prayer that came through. And you can say it with me, or hear it and say it, or you can choose to hear it and just breathe it in, and you can watch this again and choose to say it if you want to. But as we come into this space to really make our declaration to be plugged in to the greatest purpose, the highest outcome, the greatest love and resilience and strength and character of our family line, we just feel the ancestry around us. Knowing the decision to understand this, to recognize this, to self-actualize this is the way we show gratitude. It is the way we give back. To disconnect to the distortions, the wounds, the patterns that just were running through the family, to have compassion for how and why that may have transpired, while at the same time not continuing that story. And seeing the love, seeing the greater purpose that every member of our family holds. That is how we give back. Breathe here. And the prayer is, I come to this moment with gratitude for this timeline and my soul's decision to be here now, to be a role in this family story. I come to this moment with gratitude for this timeline and my soul's decision to be here now and be a role in this family story. Breathe. Exhaling out, I release all conflict with receiving everything that's been given to me so that I can come into the fullest expression of form, of healing, happiness, and light, and create a beautiful new arc in my family story. Breathe. I release all conflict with receiving everything that's been given to me so that I can come into the fullest expression of healing, happiness, and light, and create a beautiful new arc in my family story. Just feeling that move down the spine. Putting some awareness at the feet. The feet are opening. You're connecting to being here at this timeline on this planet. I free myself from any cycles of trauma and pain that have been inherited. I free myself from any cycles of trauma and pain that have been inherited, letting it drop down. I alchemize the story that culminates through me with truth, love, and unprecedented action. I alchemize the history that culminates through me with truth, love, and unprecedented action. Feeling the heart open, the chest open, the body is opening. Now you're really cracking open. Feeling the celebration of the ancestry, to choose to alchemize it, to see it, to receive it, to alchemize it through truth, love, and unprecedented action. And now exhaling out here, clearing and releasing, clearing and releasing. And now we're breathing in. I align myself with the greatest current of strength and purpose in my family tree. I align myself with the greatest current of strength and purpose in my family tree. Breathing that in. Exhaling out, letting that come into the throat, healing your expression, aligning yourself with the greatest current of strength and purpose and creativity that comes from your family. Breathing in, aligning with the greatest current of wisdom and peace and prosperity that comes from your family, bringing that down through the body. Breathing in, aligning with the greatest current of kindness, the greatest current of kindness, generous action, generosity, empathy, health. Breathing in the greatest current of health that can be found in your genetics and family tree. Breathing that in. I connect with the highest possible outcomes for my ancestry. Breathing that in, unprecedented outcomes. And just hold that here. I'm just going to work with us a bit energetically, but just feel yourself vibrating higher, and feel the way you come from high vibrational ancestry. No matter the stories, no matter the distortions, no matter what has played out in these timelines where harmless isn't possible, harmless isn't happening, but the alchemy of harm, the alchemizing into healing, into transformation, into strength is possible. Feel yourself doing that right now. Exhaling out, moving the body, anything that needs to release. Letting yourself feel happiness, receive the blessing and the gratitude and the beauty of being who you are and where you're from in this lifetime. I send compassion and thanks back and forth through the family line. And so just feeling compassion and thanks coming to you, and sending compassion and thanks back into the history of your family, and sending compassion and thanks forward into the future of your family, into your people, the people you will bring in and have brought into the family and will carry forth. Compassion, gratitude for everybody's role in this incredible, transformative soul story. And just before we finish this prayer, this ritual, just letting yourself sit in the peace of this. Giving reverence, giving gratitude to those who have passed, who you've learned from, received from, who you continue on from. Knowing you are unplugged from the painful, stories, from the lessons that included harm, that you can see it and therefore you can release it. The truth is true and all is well. The truth is true and all is well. Letting it go. Knowing the ancestors know how to repurpose what we release, know how to support the alchemy with us. And then we just finish with, I remember who you are. I remember who you really are. I remember who you really are. Beyond, 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 I remember who you really are. The greatest blessing to give to our ancestors. I recognize who I really am. I recognize who I really am. I recognize who I really am. Bringing that in. And I attune to the frequency of peace. And I become a link in the story that holds the frequency of peace. Become a piece of the peace. Just bring that around you, letting that come in. There is a way to receive the gift, to see everything and to reconcile and find the peace, to find the alchemy through love, truth, and unprecedented action. Knowing that whatever we've needed to clear and release has been cleared. Whatever we need to receive and bring in, it's with us now, breathing that in. And we send so much gratitude to this moment, to this timeline, to our ancestors, for their role, for the story and the chapter that they wrote, for the resilience and love that brought us here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being willing to keep bringing it forward. Have a beautiful night. If you want to go deeper, I am having a soul lineage circle on Sunday. And we're going to go all the way into like the soul work. The lineages that come from a soul level, the personality and the family, and then we go into the soul level. And yeah, it's going to be beautiful. So feel free to reach out if you're interested in that. And thank you for joining me. And thank you for coming forward and continuing the story of your family and being part of the peace, bringing the peace. Okay, thanks. Bye.